It's health from the inside out for sure, which is exactly what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk gut health today. So welcome everyone. I know we've got some new faces to me. Is this some folks' first time on this gut health call? I know that's one of those things, like even if you've been before, just hearing the information said in different ways is often incredibly powerful. So anyway, whether you're new, if you've been on this call before, my intention with this call is always in not only sharing something extraordinary that this community is just really excited about, but also to empower you with some information that you can really take and move forward in your life in an empowering way to empower your, not only your physical health, but your mental and emotional well-being. So I am Susan Alden, for those of you who don't know me, and I have been on quite the health journey myself, particularly with regards to gut health. And over the last, probably 20 years, I've also been health coaching people, particularly in the field of mental health. And so I share that up front, like I'm not a doctor. My expertise has a lot to do with gut health, detoxing, and mental health, because that is really so intricately connected. And recently I've learned just massive amounts of information about how gut health is really at the root of some catastrophic diseases that we're all facing in greater numbers in younger ages. It's not just we're seeing this in our elders, but in very, very young people. And so wherever you are with regards to your health, just know that we come with this information with a great passion for getting to the root cause. And for those of you who have been on any of the other calls with regards to our cellular activation products, this gut health call is another key component of getting to the root cause. So I'm going to take a moment to share my screen here. Let's see. Oh no. Oh, I might have my screen disabled. That is interesting. Well, maybe I won't share my screen.
Let me see if that's my fault. Hold on one moment.
Okay. Rusty made me the host. For some reason, it wasn't letting me start the meeting even when I was signed in as him. But it says host disabled participant screen sharing. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. I'll just talk. You just get to look at my face instead of some of the graphics. Okay, let me try it again. There we go. Thank you, Kamile. All right, let's see. Okay, can you see my slides okay? Gut health. Here we go. Okay, so my question for you right out of the gate is, are you experiencing optimal health? I mean, truly. How is your energy? How is your mental and emotional well-being? How are you digesting your food? I mean, if we really think about gut health, we have to just take it simply to what is the one thing that we do every single day? Well, not the one thing, but one of the many things we do every day is we eat every day. Hopefully we're also sleeping every day, and we're also eliminating every day. But our gut health is so critical to and foundational to our health. And if you're on this call, you're probably already doing some great things for your health. You understand that nutrition is vitally important, that food is truly our medicine, that exercise is important, that sleep is of course important. But often we don't really think about our gut health and that profound connection between the gut and the brain. And there's lots of science behind this, but I want to kind of take us to what is the problem that many folks are facing? And there's a range of issues that are connected to our gut health, whether it is heartburn or skin irritations, acne, allergies, headaches, migraines, autoimmune conditions, lots of just a wide range of physical conditions. And then we think of even more serious issues like IBS or SIBO or Crohn's. I've recently had some people in my life that have been diagnosed with colon cancer. And it's interesting, I was having some conversations with this dear friend of mine, and she said, because I thought you've always eaten healthy. I mean, her diet is good. She exercises. She's full of life. She loves life. And she told me, she said, growing up, I was chronically constipated. And she looks back on her life and she thinks, gosh, and then she had a lot of stress in her early 20s. And so we never know these things that we're going through when we're younger, maybe the conditions that were set for us when we were younger, how they're going to impact us later in life. And even talking to somebody who does I don't know if you're familiar with colonics, but a wonderful colonic therapist was telling me that she's seeing in the older generations, in the 70s and 80s, people that didn't have maybe a bathroom in their home growing up. She said, growing up in our schools and just out in public, we didn't have easily accessible public bathrooms. And so we ended up not eliminating when we needed to. We ended up holding it. And how many times do we're on a road trip, even now with our kids, or they're, just hold it, you can hold it. Well, this is, having an impact on our natural elimination situation. So anyway, all of these can contribute in the long term and sometimes the short term to our chronic gut health issues. And we do know this is a statistic based on a study done at New York University Medical Center, where 74% of Americans have chronic gut health issues. Now, one thing that we don't often think about, or I'd say most people don't think about, is the profound link between anxiety and depression, particularly with our youth when it comes to gut health. So I would say across the board, most of us are eating way too much processed foods. And I hate to say it, but even if you're somebody who's like, I'm eating healthy, I'm eating organic food, I'm eating as much raw food as I can, unprocessed food as I can, the sad truth is that so much of our produce, our mass produced, even our organics, are commercially farmed, our soils are depleted, we're not taking in the same nutrients as we did many, many years ago. And then you overlay, what we're taking in as food to the stressors that we're facing today, particularly over this last year, particularly in our fast-paced society where, life is moving at the speed of light. We are ripe for gut health issues and mental health issues. And so this is profoundly connected, and I think you'll understand this as we go along, why our gut health is directly related to our mental and emotional health. But maybe you don't have any of those issues. Maybe you're feeling pretty good. But, I always say our poop doesn't lie. And if we go from day to day to day, I always say, look before you flush, because how you're eliminating each and every day is a good indication of how your health is in this current moment. And so, ideally we want our poop to look like that middle guy with the cool shades, but, realistically, sometimes we get dehydrated and sometimes it doesn't look like that, or sometimes we're not absorbing nutrients so well. All of these things can be indicators that something is out of balance. And so really what this is about is, how do we bring the body back in balance? And if we can catch it early, if we can catch it in our day-to-day life, and we see what we can maybe add in to support our health and well-being, that is key. That is key. And so that's why we're here. And that's, if you were invited by somebody today, if you're a guest on this call of somebody who's already in our LifeVantage community, please know that they deeply care about you. They are passionate about what they are sharing. And I'm passionate about what I'm sharing with you, because we see how profoundly powerful this is in people's lives in the short term and over the long term. So coming back to that gut-brain axis, as somebody who's worked in the field with people with anxiety and depression, PTSD, complex PTSD, chronic issues, I know that the gut-brain axis is critical. And part of that is because your gut is creating these neurotransmitters. So believe it or not, the serotonin, is everybody familiar with serotonin? Serotonin is like, you can think of it as the happy chemical, right? It's what gets you up in the morning. Your body is producing this serotonin. Your body is, feeling good, loving life, joyful for life. And it's the melatonin that puts you to bed at night, right? All of these neurotransmitters are actually created in the gut. They run through the gut-brain axis, right? 90% of your serotonin comes from your gut. So your gut is responsible for these neurotransmitters. Serotonin, Sarah, I always say Sarah gets you up in the morning and melatonin or Mel puts you to bed at night. And if you talk to people that are struggling health-wise, oftentimes there's sleep issues. And that's health-wise, again, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally and physically. And then of course, the problem that they're facing globally in terms of the pandemic, multiple studies are coming out about how the gut is critical in not only impacting or in supporting your ability to fight off COVID, both as a preventative, not getting it, but also once you've been infected with COVID. There's multiple studies about how probiotics really boost your immunity and help you to steer clear, not only of COVID, but many, many viruses and diseases. So, and that is because 70% of your immune system exists in your gut. All right, take that in. 70% of your immune system is in your gut. It's aligned with all these immune cells. So why do we get out of balance in the first place? Well, we mentioned stress, we mentioned diet, but there's also some things that maybe weren't in our control, like how we were born, the mode of delivery at birth. Did you get some of your mother's good microbiome? How you were fed? Were you breastfed or not breastfed? And your genetics do play a role. Like, what kind of genes did I always say that the hand your parents dealt you, right? Medications and antibiotics have a huge, huge impact on our microbiome. So if you think about antibiotics, what do? They kill off bad bacteria, but they're indiscriminately killing off all bacteria. And so we want that good bacteria. I recently learned, if anybody's ever been on SIBO, which I've had a round of SIBO, no, I'm sorry, Cipro. I was about to say SIBO is often the consequence of it, but Cipro is a very potent antibiotic. It can take your gut up to 4 years to heal from Cipro. So, a few pills to kill off some bacteria, whew, you got a long healing journey often to deal with that. So your lifestyle, of course, any traumatic experiences you've had, all of that has a big, big impact. So what if I said that you could radically change your health and well-being by just taking a few steps? Would you be willing to do that? Just to take a few steps. I mean, what we have our hands on is amazing. So, and it all starts with improving your microbiome. And we think about our microbiome, which probably most of us don't day by day, but our microbiome, we have trillions and trillions of microbial cells in our body. They actually outnumber the amount of human cells that we have in our body. And why do we care about this? Well, our microbiome, it packs all aspects of our health, our cardiovascular health, our oral health, our brain health, how we metabolize food, how our blood, the lipid metabolism. So it has an impact on all these things. And our gut microbiome is very unique to each and every one of us. So even if you're living in the same household with someone who's eating the same foods, you're mostly impacted by the same things, your microbiome is very specific to you. And a lot of this has to do with epigenetics versus genetics. And so this could be a whole other conversation, but we do know science is showing us that 97% of our genome is impacted by our environment and by the choices we make. And so again, that's diet, lifestyle, toxins, the EMFs that we're exposed to, and of course, all the stressors. So when we talk about improving our gut health, we really have to look at person by person, what can we do to shift? And we can't say, this shouldn't be bothering me because it didn't bother my spouse or my brother or my sister. Our gut microbiome is very unique to each and every one of us. And so I like to share a little bit about the anatomy because I think that having a visual and really understanding some key components help us to get our gut back in track and to give it the right tools. And so our large intestine, as you can see in this picture, so our large intestine is about 5 to 6 feet long. And inside that is our small intestine, which is about 22 to 24 feet long. And so, of course, I mean, if you really put your hands on your belly and you think about that, your food has to move through this digestive tract, all those twists and turns. And so you can see how, if you haven't eaten very well at any point in your life, that you could have some issues, particularly if you were ever constipated or you are currently constipated. Now, the majority of our microbiome is actually in the lower intestine, in the colon. So as indicated by this picture here, that is representative of the microbiome. And yes, we do have some microbiome in the small intestine. This is mostly where we absorb our nutrients, but I like to say it's the colon where that really does the dirty work. Now, if you look up here to the stomach, and of course this isn't all to scale, but this gives you a good, visual to think about this. There's no microbiome indicated in the stomach here. Why is that? Well, our stomach is by nature very acidic, and that is a beautiful, miraculous design, because when we're taking in food, if we're eating anything that has some harmful bacteria, maybe the food maybe wasn't cooked properly, maybe you're traveling, that the stomach acids are going to kill off that bad bacteria. So when you get that bellyache, if you ate something that didn't agree with you, bless it. Say thank you that it didn't get down into the small intestine and the large intestine where it could really do some damage. So we want those stomach acids to be high. We want the microbiome in our colon to be strong and to outnumber the bad guys. So at any given moment, we have about, in our healthy body, about 80% good guys and 20% bad guys. That is just the fact. I mean, we all have some bad bacteria in our gut for sure, but you want the good guys to prevail. So we're all about what I'm going to share with you here in terms of probiotics, prebiotics, and postbiotics is like keeping the good guy numbers up. So how do we cultivate a healthy gut and brain? Or I like to say, how do we create an abundant garden? Well, here we have three powerful products, what I call the gut health trio, that can help you do that. And here's a simple way to think of it. And this is why I like to use the garden terminology. We have probiotics, which probably most of you are familiar with, but probiotics are like the seeds in the garden, right? They're the seeds that you want to plant, and you want to be mindful of what seeds you're planting, right? Because we don't want to plant something we don't want in our gut, or something that's not going to help us, or something that's not going to support our vitality. So the probiotics are the good seeds. The prebiotics are like the fertilizer that fertilizes the good seeds. So prebiotics. And then the postbiotics are like the soil. And we know, again, I mentioned this earlier, our life force, the seeds that we're planting, what we're growing is only as good as our soil. And so the soil is also important when we're growing an abundant garden. It's also important when you're cultivating healthy microbiome. So what we have here is a product that is called LifeVantage ProBio. And it is a combination of good, healthy bacteria. There's actually 6 different strains in here. And I used to think that like more is better. I would go on the shelf and I'd say, I need 80 billion CFUs or 90 billion CFUs. And what I realized is that's great marketing. We tend to think more is better. But really what we're looking at is the specific combination of specific strains that we actually need in our gut. And so here it is. You can see these specific strains, and I've highlighted what's called Wellmune. And it's something that makes this product unique because it specifically targets those, the immunity in the gut. So those immune cells that line your gut, very, very important. When I personally started taking these products, I was in some serious gut distress. And I will tell you that I felt an immediate difference, and I had been on several different probiotics. And with this, I felt a very immediate, like within a week difference. And that's how sensitive my gut was at the time. So I believe that it was not only the Wellmune, but also the delivery system. And so LifeVantage ProBio is encapsulated in what's called BioTrack. So it's really the delivery system, and it's a time release. So your body gets to use its natural, it's adjusting to your body, your specific body, and release throughout your system and over the course of 1 to 10 hours based on your digestive patterns. And it's also designed to survive the stomach acids. And so that is a big piece. And I know if you were like me, probably most of you were using or are using what looks like these on the right, this veggie caps probiotic. Well, those dissolve in your stomach, or they dissolve through your system in about 7 minutes. So basically that capsule is dissolving within the stomach. And so if we go back and think about this image here, what happens, right? Basically, those good microbiome aren't getting to where you really need it in the lower digestive tract if they're getting eaten up by the stomach acids. On the left side, we see the LifeVantage ProBio. So it's these little round pills, these little round capsules, and studies show that at least 60% will get down into the lower intestine versus 4% of the veggie caps. So by delivery system alone, this product is 15 times more effective than your average probiotic. Now, when we're talking the prebiotic, we have an amazing prebiotics. It's actually in a powder form. It's in this little tub, and you make a drink out of it, quite simply. And it is a combination of these amazing phytonutrients that are designed to, again, feed the microbiome, feed the good guys. It contains these phytonutrients that you can read down here, some of which are very hard to pronounce, but you can look them up and see what they do in the system. Inulin from chicory root is one of them, brown seaweed extract. And then these are things that you think, why do I need this? Well, most of us don't eat enough of this we don't eat enough probiotic food to supplement this good, healthy bacteria. And there's also a good, strong amino acid blend here, which is really critical. So this is something that can particularly help if you are feeling like if things aren't flowing well. So there's been quite a bit of research on how prebiotics support people with diverticulitis and other kind of conditions that deal with not eliminating properly. So this is a great thing. And again, it's feeding the good microbiome. And then when we talk about the postbiotics, the good soil, how are we doing that? Well, we're doing that through a product called Daily Wellness. And I love this product for many reasons. Again, you can make it in a drink, which makes it easy for anybody to use, no matter, maybe they don't swallow pills, or maybe you want to supplement your children's diet. Maybe they're not eating a lot of seaweed, although I'd say a lot of our kids in Hawaii, we do love our seaweed in Hawaii. So, but this has elderberry, which has been, used for centuries, probably something you're very familiar with. It's an amazing phytonutrient, and also a whole yeast a whole yeast ferment. And this is the probiotic. And again, you can read about this. I've got some information here, but it also has those beta glucans that support the immune cells. So this is your compost. And the other thing I love about this, or I should say the compost, but compost makes good soil. The other great thing about this product is it has some essential vitamins and minerals, including vitamin C, vitamin D3, and zinc. And those, again, are probably all things you are incredibly familiar with, particularly with the pandemic going on. Even our doctors are saying, take vitamin C, D, and zinc to boost your immune system. So this is a really great product on many levels, not just for your gut health, but for many aspects of your health. So one thing that I always like to, be mindful of when I'm sharing with folks is that it's not just about taking certain products. We really support our health in many, many ways. And of course, again, exercising, getting proper rest, keeping the mind clear, being mindful of what you consume, not just through your mouth, but through your eyes and your ears, in terms of your relationships, in terms of the media that you're taking in. Staying well hydrated is such a huge issue for so many people with gut health issues. And then, when we really think about food, food and gut health specifically, we want to be mindful of the inflammatory foods that can really just trigger all kinds of gut health issues, particularly candida. And those would be gluten, sugar, and dairy. So those are the big three. And so I like to say, don't feed your weeds, right? If you're planting this beautiful garden and you're taking these wonderful products, but you got a lot of weeds going on, and you're continuing to consume these things that your gut is like saying, no, you got to eliminate the weeds. So cut back on it, be mindful of it. If you're having major issues, you might want to just really eliminate them for the short term. And I know nobody ever wants to hear that. I personally love all three of these. Give me some gluten and a little sugar and a little dairy. I'm a happy woman. But how we take care of ourselves, and particularly when we're talking about our gut, really comes down to how are we loving ourselves and stepping out in the world and being the best that we can be for not only ourselves, but our family. So gut health trio, here it is once again, and you probably have a lot of questions. Sometimes I open the door to more questions, and just please know that whoever invited you would be happy to answer your questions and point you to more information, whether you want to give the whole trio a try, or maybe combine the products in a certain way. Check it out, reach out to the person that invited you. So again, just a reminder that simple steps can radically improve your health. And I always like to remind folks that the seed you plant today and cultivate with care are truly an investment that can lead to abundant health in all your tomorrows. And so please don't wait until you're, in a catastrophic health situation to really step out and take care of your health. And that is why we are all here. For those of you who are new to our community, we are connected to a beautiful company called LifeVantage that is really focused on nutrigenomics. So we are the front line of nutrigenomics, and it has much to do with our foundational products, which are cellular activation products, which you can also learn more about. We are a company, it is a network marketing company, and out of the 4,000 plus network marketing companies, we are one of, I believe, 17 that are publicly traded. And so we come to you with this information, not just because we're, we are personally excited about it, but we have a passion to help you with it. And you feel called to become a part of our community. I invite you to also learn more about that because it's so powerful. Let me just stop sharing for a second. I'll say that, those of us who are on this call, we are passionate about aligning our financial well-being and our service to the world with something that is doing good for the world. And so my husband and I are doing this call together, but we're actually on way different time zones right now. But we're a military family. We have served this great nation for about 24 years of our life, and most of that was spent during the global war on terrorism. And I can say that we have seen a lot of the worst of humanity in terms of the price of war. And so it's been a great honor to us and blessing for us to just step up and do something that is truly serving humanity in a beautiful way. And so if you feel called to, step out into the world and invest your time and energy and your heart into something that is really doing good in the world and receive financial reciprocation, because what we do, what we put our time and energy in has to be sustainable. So anyway, I invite you to learn more about that. And I thank you all for your time and attention, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Aloha to all. And please get back to the person who invited you. Mwah. Thank you.